Hello and welcome to another episode of the Nordic Takedown. This is episode number 71. Weeks just rush by and we keep churning these out. Who are you listening to? My name is Victor and with me today is Adam. I'm so humble. Welcome.
Thank you. Glad to be back.
Been a while, yeah. You haven't been on for a couple of weeks now. We're going to get into what you've been up to in just a little bit, but before that, I'll give you a brief introduction to what episode number 71 is going to be all about. We are going to look at all the things that comes with the excitement of a new set, that pack openings, we're opening pre-releases. We had pre-releases last weekend then. And we're also going to do one of our favorites. We did this last fall, I think, you and me. And we're going to
Yeah.
do a little bit of price speculation, look at what we think is going to happen with the legendaries of the set and so on. But before that, what's happened this past week since I was on? Well, of course, the pre-releases. I've been to 3 so far. And yeah, I'm going to a fourth one on Thursday, which is the same day as this episode is actually published.
Impressive.
So I'll do my dues. I had a great time. As always, I've been to 4 different places by the end of this. And yeah, that's me. What you been up to these weeks?
I have not been opening one whole box in pre-releases as you. Um, I, I've been away vacation basically, and now it feels like I am a guest for the first time on the podcast and not a host. But yeah, been playing some in Berlin and in Rome. Obviously, the vacation was not for playing, but it just happened to be events that I popped
Lined
by.
up.
So I did play two PQs, one top eight and one, well, two top eight, but one of them were not top cut to top eight. It was top four. Um, Played Raid Data Vault in one and Quinlan Targeton in the other one. Yeah, there was my PQs to play. I did not practice anything before them, really, like a few games on the hotel. Um, so there was a limited testing and limited results after it, even though it was a lot of bad luck involved in both of the exits. To be fair, but I had some luck in Lille, so that's
You
um,
used up all your luck.
yeah, I think so, and I think it's good to waste some bad luck before Vegas, right? Since we're both going.
You did manage to sneak one pre-release in, right?
Yes, unfortunately, we stayed at a bad hotel, so we were afraid of getting bed bugs. So we couldn't go on our like planned routes. We had to go home. I had to do some washing of all the clothes and dry them because that's what you do, like all that. Which meant I was gonna be to Kurt to made me home on the Saturday where Costa had their first pre-release in Star Wars Unlimited. So I got to play one. It was a small one. We were 7, but the owner stepped down then, so we didn't get uneven numbers. So we 6 players played 3 rounds, and yeah, I went 3-0. Made a pretty good Talton yellow deck, I must say. 6-0 in games, um, not too shabby. I think the feels like limited play is very fun in this new set. That's my experience. Like by just
Yeah,
by this short thing, it felt fun. How do you feel?
yeah.
You played
Yeah,
more.
we will actually return to that, of course. The analysis of the pre-release and limited experiences we've had. Just what's the point of going to a pre-release? Just for those listeners that haven't been to one, or it's just arguing with themselves like it's cheaper to just buy single cards. Why would I bother buying boxes or going to pre-release? What's your take on that? Why do you go to a pre-release? Why do you buy boxes?
So there is two things that's definitely separate things. Why do I buy a box and why do I go to pre-release? That's very different things. Um, right now, I actually go to pre-release so I can buy box earlier. That is one of the things, right?
So
I
they're
think that's a
kind of
very
connected.
yeah they connect, but I think and that's a very good thing they did a change. They didn't do that for set one and set two, but for set three, I think set three and four and now five, you are allowed to buy like your order basically on the day, so you get a week early access on the cards, which is very fun. Especially if you have upcoming events like in set in set 4, we had the Malmö thing pretty early on. So you wanted the cards early, you
Yeah.
wanted to test. Now we have Vegas, the Galactics. Um, so, but if you want to play a pre-release, it's just to get like this first touch of the cards, maybe bring a new friend to introduce to the game. Um, like it's a great way for the store to introduce new people to the game, so they get more players and yeah, they can sell more. And like it's a cheap way to try. It's like you get a few hours for a few hundred crowns, or 10, 20, 30 euros, depending. Uh, and that's basically, if you go to the movies, you pay 20 to 30 euros, at least in Sweden, and you get 2 hours of fun. In the here, you get like maybe 3 to 4, depending on how big the pre-release, might be even 5. Um, and you tried it out, and like if you don't like it, you don't have to buy more boxes, but you tried it out, and so it's a good tryout for the game. For us that already play it, it's just like getting this fix, like a small injection of new SWU. That's how I feel about it, at least. Even though like I don't prioritize it that much, but somehow I end up go to a pre-release every time. So like it's um, I think it's just a great start of the new set, basically. When you ramp into like for SWU, it's even better because we only do 3 sets a year, or only. I think that's the most you should do as a card game. Uh,
That's a fair
uh,
amount.
But like in other cards games, when you only do three, like every 3 months, like having a pre-release and then ramp into something, the time is very short, so you kind of feel like more of a waste. Here, it's like you have the time for a pre-release, take it easy, and then you have 3.5 weeks basically, the 3.5 months, sorry, to play the game with it. So that's how I feel. And now I've been rambling on. How about
No,
you, Victor?
yeah, I agree with almost all of the points you brought up there. I think it's a great way to introduce new players, and it's like by nature it's going to have to be casual. So I
Yeah,
think it's those are really good points. But I also think about it a little bit the other way around. Like for me, the local game store here has always been like a place to meet players, to use as a space to play the game, to have
yeah,
tournaments. So in the Stockholm area, there is not that many good places to play, and I feel like I want those places to keep arranging tournaments, game nights, uh, what have you, all the things that we enjoy. And I think like for that to happen, I need to have those places feel like the game is something. So they need to see that we come out in numbers, that we buy product. Like I'm very careful not to buy boxes online, even though it's a little bit cheaper. If I want to buy a box, I don't buy it online. I buy it from a local game store. It's a little bit more expensive, but that's the rent I pay to be able to use their facilities in a way,
yeah,
and
yeah.
it encouraged them to keep up with the game and keep up with product, to take in the game night kits. And if we don't show up for their events, they're going to stop doing that, obviously. And the
Obviously,
pre-release is it's just such a fun event to do that around. Also, for me, I think like I think that limited formats is very enjoyable in this game. I do play a lot of draft, and I do like that. So even though sealed is not as fun as draft, at least I don't think it is. It's when the cards are fairly new, it's a good way to try out the limited format. What's strong in sealed is probably going to be even stronger in draft, where you can sort of manipulate it more.
yeah.
So it's a way to test out something I'm not testing. I'm not testing limited formats when I'm grinding and trying to prepare for Vegas. So in the pre-release, I get to test the limited format in a simple way. And like you mentioned, I bought a box worth of cards at pre-releases. So that's one of the boxes I was going to buy anyway. And then I'll buy a couple of more boxes, and that's what I'm going to buy product
Yeah,
wise. And then
and the
I'll
pre-release boxes
probably
are not.
buy a few singles.
Yeah, the pre-release boxes, you don't lose money on it, on playing it actually. Like it's basically
No,
the same as buying a booster. If you spread it out, of course you lose money on the travels, but hey, that's not their fault. Uh, they're- uh, and
yeah,
and sometimes you get these extra boosters. Some of these bigger pre-release, they give out boosters for wins or like for everyone. That at that point you're going plus, uh, even so.
yeah, yeah.
I think yeah, I
And I
think the
mean,
very
travel,
fair
like
price.
the stores I go to, the travel isn't that much. Like,
Yeah,
of course, my very local here, that's a bicycle ride away, so that's
yeah,
nothing. But even like the ones in Stockholm where I play Alpha Spill and Dragon Slayer, that's just 40 crowns. That's
yeah,
less than €4 to go with the train. So
yeah.
it's
And you
nothing.
get to
The
meet
travel
people that
expense is nothing. But it's a really nice way to celebrate the start of the set, to get pumped, to get excited about it. But did you have fun?
yes, yeah, it was fun and like I think it's the limited formats is nice, like especially like it's a new group of players in Costa, which means like for me to play Premier with all of them is not like bringing me any more skill anyway. Like I need to get them a little bit up as well. So limited evens the play field a little bit. Obviously now I went 6-0 anyway, like 2-0, 2-0, 2-0, but uh, like some of the games were close.
It's
And
still, yeah, it's still something, and it's more and more even playing field, I guess.
yeah, and it was nothing
Especially
on the
your
line.
card pool.
Yeah,
Exactly. And your card pool is at least not going to be in your favor. It's just going to
yeah.
be the same. Everyone's playing the same. Yeah, I agree. I do think compared to the other sets, this was not the best limited set I played. I think Mother Talsin and to some extent Obi-Wan and Snook is very dominant
I guess it's better
as
than
leaders.
Anakin.
It's not Anakin bad. It's not
No,
that bad. It's still way better than set three was, but it's still a little bit warped. I did play only and sorry, all my opponents I played all three uh, stores I've been to have been Obi-Wan or Tulsin except for one
uh,
at
okay,
three
yeah,
events. So it's a bit
that's
warped. Sorry,
yeah,
Snook as well. Snook, Obi-Wan,
yeah.
Tulsin, and Snook. Those are the three I've played over and over again. I myself have actually tried Ahsoka and a little bit of other things, but that aside, there's a little bit of a warp to the limited meta. And I think compared to last set, which was incredible limited, like last set was some of the most fun limited I've played, and even the sealed decks were really fun to play because there was such a huge diversity in what they were doing, like a big difference between playing Boba Red, sorry, Boba 4
Yeah.
with some color, and if you look at Vader, or if you look at any of the ground based ones that actually did pop up in that set as well. So there were quite different strategies being played, and the games were kind of quick. This was much more sluggish and much more uniform. What they were trying to do is with sentinels and hit base almost completely on the ground. If someone got something in the space arena, that was going to win them the game because you probably can't answer it. And even worse, whoever drew their turret first was sure to win the game. I think it wasn't the best limited set so far, but it was far from the worst either.
Yeah, like I didn't play a lot.
So did you have any exciting pulls at your pre-release or otherwise?
I did open 4 boxes, plus the pre-release box and then a carbonite box. And in the carbonite one, I did find the showcase that I showed you, and it is the Mother Talsin one, uh, which is
Nice. I mean,
one of the most
she's
gorgeous
looking really witchy. Yeah, it's a gorgeous carbonite,
art.
but sorry, gorgeous showcase, but she is real ugly on that one.
Oh yeah, she like it represents how she looks in the comic. like in the
Indeed.
Clone Wars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I love it. Yeah.
How about you?
Yeah. Yes and no. I did get a lot of legendaries, but maybe nothing spectacular. Like I did get a hyperspace Anakin.
Yeah, me
That's
too. Me
probably
too.
my best. Yeah, it's probably my best pull. But then, like, I got a set of Mythosaurus. I'm not
Oh,
sure that's gonna be my thing, and so on. But I all in all, between the three pre-releases and the packs I won at those, and with the two boxes I've opened, I'm at 19 legendaries. So I guess that's pretty good.
yeah.
No showcase so far, and only one showcase was opened at any of the pre-releases I were at. So showcases might actually have been going down in drop rate. I'm not sure about that, but we usually had more showcases at our pre-releases. Maybe we just been lucky though.
Yeah, it's like when
Um,
you break it down, it's not that many like the packs you're opening on a pre-release. So maybe.
yeah, no, I guess it's just within the randomization, I guess. But did you open that Mother Tulsa in at your pre-release?
No, Carbonite box. So it's not insane that I draw a showcase. It's
Yeah, no.
pretty
The
reasonable.
carbonite boxes, yeah, because the carbonite boxes should have a showcase or a numbered prestige card in every box, I think, or in every two boxes.
I think there's a showcase in like the statistics, like you could get both in one. You can even get multiple
Mhm.
showcases in a box. But the statistics is that you
Mm.
get a showcase every second box and a serialized every fourth.
Brings us on to our new segment, which is that it's been all over the internet right now. Some people, especially in the States, it would seem, have had some issues with their carbonite packs. They've opened carbonite packs that they bought at their stores over the weekend, and there have been no prestige slot in them. So, no
Uh,
prestige card at all in the whole pack. And of course, people's been going crazy about this. The internet's been all up in arms. And
Makes
FFG
sense.
had an early response. Yeah, of course. If you buy something and it's promised that it's be a slot for prestige or uh,
It's the only
showcases,
reason you buy that one. Like
yeah, 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 and there's none. There's
yeah,
none. There are people opening packs on videos. You can see them opening them with nothing in them. So it's an issue that's definitely documented. So there was a panicked response from FFG during the weekend, which they have walked back since. But that response was basically if you buy a faulty product, you bring it back to the store where you bought the faulty product, and they will reimburse you. You wouldn't call Samsung if you had issues with something you bought in a store that was faulty from them. You'd call
yeah.
the store, and that was like a I guess not wrong response, but it's a bad look. That's not what you you want to be more responsive to your customers. So they've said that that's not their official take on the issue. That was like a I don't know a tweet or something similar
Yeah.
to that, and the company has said that that's not their official stance on the issue, and that they will come back with and some kind of response to the issue within a day or so. So we will have a more collected response to it. But the whole issue, what do you think about it?
I think it's sad that we continue having these issues with production because that
Yeah,
I'm not too familiar with the CCG scene like multiple other games. I've only played the Unlimited before, and that was the problem was other kind of production, not like the randomness or like that we were missing stuff. It was just not coming out to the to us. Uh, so I'm not sure how usual this is, but I think it's a little bit sad that we have had some sort of printing issues in 3 out of 5 sets. That is
yeah,
that is kind of sad. Like I'm not even sure which one is worse with the correlation, because that knowing is really bad. But not having anything at all on a product, especially like there would be something if they were missing like a hyperspace card that's usually common or uncommon, then you would probably not even need to do anything but saying I'm sorry. Uh,
Yeah.
but now it's the most important card. Like, are they missing serialized numbers now? We don't know. Is it like
No.
uh, 30 less serialized numbers cards in every line for the collectors? Like, uh,
It
it's
seems
really
because
bad.
some
Like,
people have
it's such an
reported,
expense.
yes, some people seems to have been getting two prestiges in one pack. So it seems that it's
Mm.
more that it's ended up in another pack instead of the one it should have been in. But this is why, like
That's
you
also
asked
bad.
how common it is. As far as I know Magic had in one set ages ago. They had like God boxes where all there was a
Oh,
pack of only rares and so on. Like there have been issues, but they've never been to the detriment of the customers. They've
yeah.
always been like, oh, they've had a printing issues, so you can get this incredible thing, and people are rushed to the stores to get them. I've never ever heard of this kind of issues. All other CCGs have some kind of quality control. They have a person at the plant checking it, and FFG clearly does not. I mean, when you've had problems of this magnitude with set 1 and 2, wouldn't you have a guy at the printing place checking things from now on?
Yeah, and especially on these things that cost customers 3 times the money. Like, this is not like
Yeah.
it's not a booster for 65 Swedish crowns. Like, was it like €6 or €5? Like, this is something you pay 25 euros for, basically, depending on like even more. Like,
Yeah, could
per
even be more.
pack, it can even be more.
Yep.
It's like, and most people don't buy just the one pack, even though that's
No.
sad when that happens. But like, if you are opening the wrong box, like 2 out of 4, and you're not having the
Mhm,
god box on the other ones, like, it's
mhm.
you. Of course, we are not buying boxes to win back money, but like, we
No.
want to buy boxes on a premise, like that something can happen.
Yeah.
Like, we want to know what can happen. Like,
Yeah,
it's
no.
actually like insanely bad, and it's a hard fix, because
Yeah.
if the cards were missing in a line somehow, they could that maybe go back and see these are not out. But they now, if they are doublets in others, like someone gets double serialized, you cannot reprint the number 47 Ezra,
No.
because it was wrong. That person got two. That's just how it is.
Yep.
So
That's
they
how
have
it
to
is.
like probably give money back, but then everyone that's opening a box could also just say that was displeased. I didn't get my pristines. Like, how are you gonna
Yeah,
respond to
exactly.
that?
How like it's an open product. How are you going to return that to store? How's
Yeah,
that
like,
gonna work?
I could just go
It's,
and
yeah,
say 11 of my 12 didn't have anything, and I keep Talsin. Like, it's just,
yep,
I
yeah,
don't know.
yeah. Exactly. No, it's just sad, and I haven't heard anything from Europe yet. So it seems that the issue, because they're printing all of the American product in Texas, I think, and then they print the rest of the world in China. I don't know, somewhere they're
Probably.
printing the rest of the world is printed somewhere else, and it seems that the issue has been with the American line, but who knows? At this point, I think a lot of people are going to hesitate on buying carbonites, and I think FFG needs to be like recall the whole thing, bring back boxes back in, and then ship out. Like either you skip it for this set, or
Yeah.
go for new boxes as soon as possible for it, because like the trust issue is going to be a problem here.
And
I
if you want
think,
to see some carbonite openings, by the way, we have
yeah,
to shout out
like
Pontus Faucet for his video on the channel.
mhm. Yeah, he just released a couple of days ago when this is released. His box openings, both Carbonite. I think he's opening 3 boxes of Carbonite, and he's opening one regular box. And he's those videos are really good. If you like that sort of thing, you should definitely check it out. I think he had no issues with his Carbonite, so he's a strong pointer to that. The European Carbonites are probably fine. So yeah, please do watch that.
Yes.
Let's move on to the other part of that. For one thing, we're only playing the game, but to be able to play the game, we need to be able to buy product, not only boxes and so on. We also need to be able to buy singles and buy the cards we need for our decks, especially now we have a very short window before Galactics, and I need to get
Yeah.
all the cards I need for my deck. So, a big thing here is being able to buy singles or buy them from friends and so on. So, the secondhand market is really important to me as a player. So, what does the secondhand market look like? What has it looked like for the last set, and what is it looking like with the pre-sales for this set? Um, well, what can you see? What have you seen?
So far, I think it feels like the market is a little bit lower than I thought it'd be because of the Galactics. I thought but guess people are still opening and are not sure what they want. Also, like everyone that's going are not selling anything, basically, because they might
Yeah,
need something because they haven't decided yet.
yeah,
A lot of us. Um, so, but everyone who's not going, they are probably just going to sell, and there will be like since the event's going to be 2,500 people, I would assume the price is going to be a little bit higher in the US than in Europe because a lot more of, like,
yeah,
say, it's definitely 2,000 and some ish Americans and 500 Europeans at
mm,
most. Um,
yeah,
so
yeah.
the prices in Europe might not be that different from the last set. I think we have
No,
slightly better legendaries in this set than
hmm,
in set 4. We also have, like, they are more a little bit more iconic with Anakin and Vader, which also puts a little higher price than a big Devastator, for example.
yeah.
Uh,
I'm also like Grogu.
yeah, Grogu, yeah,
Quite iconic, quite iconic. So the Qui-Gon Jinn. There are lots of iconic legendaries in this
yeah.
set.
But I think that we have spent a lot of time complaining about the Carbonite now, but the Carbonite sales are pushing down the legendary price heavily uh, because there
Yeah,
is so many open because of that. And I think that is actually FFG's promise of making the game cheap and accessible for everyone.
yeah,
They are definitely holding that up. Maybe it's too cheap. Some people would say, like, to buy a normal box is not valuable at all because showcases are also low because of the Carbonite boxes. But so I think the market will stay fairly low as long as people dare buying the Carbonite boxes. Because they influx showcases, legendaries, because the true chase cards there is the serialized. Uh, that's what you chase in those boxes. Uh, so I think we will probably see a little bit more of the cards being valued because they are better, but I don't think we will have anything that sticks to 40, 50. I don't think so. Maybe
no.
pre-worlds for the US, but probably not in Europe. Maybe someone reached 40
Yeah,
for a while, but
I
what do
think
you
I
think?
think you're absolutely correct. Yeah, no, I agree with everything you said there. Um, I I think that like the carbonite boxes is a way for them to like it's the carbonite boxes was introduced very early in the game's history compared to where this kind of product is introduced in most other games.
Yeah,
And seeing how long their production line is and their like production concept to actual product is, they must have they must have planned to have the carbonite boxes for this set for set 4 and so set 4 way ahead. This is not a
yeah,
reaction to anything. And I think this is interesting because of the way you talked about, they seem to have made it so that they want to have like it accessible, like you say, that they're not making the legendaries necessarily the chase cards, which is weird. But they seem to make like the idea seemed to be that most of the cards you need for a good deck should be rare or less in rarity, whereas
Yeah.
most games would have the legendaries be the like the main thing in your deck. Like you would have one or two legendaries to sort of build a staple of your deck, so do you have to have those. And I think like that's from a player standpoint that looks really good. We talked about this before. It looks like a really nice thing to do for us players, but I don't think in the long run it's good for anyone. I think that you shouldn't have the carbonite packs this early, because they are actually only for the collector side of it, even though a lot of people are both collecting and playing with the cards and want to have these cool looking decks. So that's
Hmm.
a side of collecting. But but the 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 idea of these different versions of the cards are really just a collecting concept. And I think if you want to make a game viable long run, you should build the value in the cards so that they are equally valuable to both sides. Otherwise, they don't actually get valuable, because if they're only valuable to one of the sides, they will sell them to each other quite cheaply. So
Hmm.
the most valuable cards should be valuable to both sides. So the legendaries should be the strongest if you want prices to go high. And we
Yeah.
kind of need the the expected value of a box in any game should always be lower than the actual price of the box.
Yeah.
So like it's a lottery. So you shouldn't be able to sell most boxes for more what you bought them for. That's wrong.
Yeah, but
But
that just everyone would
the
store them.
variance,
Yeah.
exactly, the variance of a box should at least stretch above the for sale price. There should be a, a, some chance that your box should be more valuable, and usually a lot more valuable. Like if you really want people to buy a lottery ticket, if the highest price, if you sell a lottery ticket for €3, the highest price you can win on the ticket can't be €35. No one's going to buy those lottery tickets. The
No.
lottery ticket needs to pay a lot more. Yeah, I mean, if you want people to buy the lottery ticket. And when the expected value is so much lower and the variance barely reaches up to the cover price, we have an issue, because then there is really no reason to buy the box from a monetary
Yeah.
standpoint. The only reason to buy a box are things that we covered earlier, like you want to support your local store, you want to support the game. That's only going to take you so far. At some point, people are going to say, no, I can't afford playing €300 every set when I could be paying €50 every set. There's
Yeah.
too much of a discrepancy. If I could buy my decks for €50, which I can,
Hmm.
why would I pay €300? What the logic is? It's going to run out here. It's not going to be able to get even the most enthusiastic players to keep doing this. Also, in a game where they are never going to do price support in cash because of the IP issues. I don't think Disney will ever allow them to have cash prices. They need their product to carry them as prices. So they need chase cards to be able to hand out. And it's such a great economy. That's the genius of a thing like Magic. They can print their own money. If they print a judge promo, they know that's valued. So they can pay their judges in something they print themselves. That's genius. And if you want that to happen, if you want to be in that spot, you need to start by building the regular cards, the regular game in such a way that that has a value. And then you will have even more value in a special version of those cards. But when the regular cards with the regular things in the regular boxes don't get the correct values, well, then the Judge promos and the Carbonite packs are not going to be as valuable either. That's
Yeah,
not how it works.
I both agree and disagree a little bit with things. Like I don't disagree kind of at all with the boxes thing. Like the normal boxes are not valued. Like you, and but there is one point there when we compare to a lottery ticket, right? We are not buying them purely to maybe get a high win. We are buying it also because we want to play the game. It's something fun. So we're not expected the same kind of like we don't expect to win 300 millions. Uh, and like and there is also like the point there is a point to buy like one or two boxes to get all the uncommons and commons. Uh, but as you said, there should be like maybe an expected value that you will get somewhere around 50 to 70% of the box cost in value, and sometimes a bit higher. A problem for the game has been that you get somewhere between 30 and 50, and at your best, 100%. Uh, and that is really bad. I think that has sort of what you described uh, with the cards rarity and stuff. Like the legendaries suck. Too many legendaries
Yeah,
are not good enough, so people don't want them, and that's why getting the rare cards in the box are not approachable for people. They don't need them. They don't want them. That's why.
yeah.
Uh, but in set one and two, when showcases were not in one, two, and three, sorry, when showcases were not
Mhm.
in these carbonites, those carried the boxes a little bit, especially in set one, where there was the best leaders. Basically, you got some value for those, and that did not interfere with the game. I think set one was, if it wasn't like sold out, I don't think Vader and Luke would go that high. It would be around the €50 mark, 40, 50 for the best cards in the game. I think that's where they would have hit the best, perfect balance. Like cards that are normal cards that are like in a decent price range. Of course, not everyone can buy three Lukes and three Vaders, but most can if they want. Uh, when you invest in the game, and you still got that you could get these showcases like a high win, but you don't need them to be competitive. Like that is the ideal. Then in set two, they it flooded down a little bit, and now in set four with introduce of carbonite, the regular boxes has no highlight. Like the showcases are not a
Yeah.
highlight anymore. I don't think necessarily it's a problem. I don't think it's bad that they introduced the carbonite this early, but I think it's bad that they have no value in the normal box, and that should have been fixed. Like they can't. Like I have talked about it many times. Like in set two, what if Cassian and Bazine were legendaries? Like
Mm.
or something like that.
Yeah.
There would be a lot more chase for those. And we see how they have done this line. That they will not be insanely much more expensive, right? It's just it's going to be a little bit. They need more cards that are worth 45, €50. They don't need more in the normal boxes that are worth 100 and 200. That's what they need in the carbonite booster. So I completely agree that, but I think it's great in a way that these carbonites, for me, it feels good if this can be the way. Like they can gain the money on the collectors, but these normal boxes are okay, and it's going to be pretty fairly decent to play for an average player, but those still needs to be worth to buy for an average player, and that's not how it's been right like lately. Um, I think there is a little bit better legendaries in this set, so maybe this could push it up to a slightly better way, maybe even decent. I think in their heads, the hyper foil legendaries should have been these great chase cards that you could get. But if they're not good, it doesn't matter. I have an evacuate, I have like aggression that I pulled in hyper foil. Since nobody plays them,
Worth nothing. Yeah.
the collectors are not
No, I
enough
think
uh, to carry the price.
no, yeah, and I think I don't disagree. If they would have been able to get the thing right with the three first sets, where the pricing of legendaries were working,
Yeah,
Carbonites would have been a good way to keep pushing that. But since there were the issues with chase cards in the regular boxes, Carbonites worked the wrong way. I think that some of the legendaries in set four are actually really good. Not enough of them, but
no,
a few
yeah,
of them. But even the ones that are really good now doesn't get valued the way you said because of the carbonite boxes and how they are not actually the chase cards in the carbonite boxes. So seeing what the game was like after set three, they should have pulled the plug on the carbonite boxes. They should have, all right, no, we're not going to do this now. We're going to halt it. We're going to wait a few sets to sort things out, get things stable. That's when we can introduce this, because they need to get the collectors market and the game, the player market, to
yeah,
start working in some kind of unison before they can introduce these kinds of products. We're gonna have issues otherwise. That's how I
yeah.
feel.
And I feel like it's
So
great for us players temporarily that is very cheap. But if FFG
yeah,
doesn't make money, they
exactly,
cancel the game. So it needs to be a balance.
exactly. If we just briefly look at what it looks like, do we have any positive signs from the pre-sales and the expected prices? So when you go into a place like Card Market right now, they do have pre-sales for most of the things that's coming in set 5, and you can
Yep.
see a little bit about the trends, and they are very much as expected for the legendaries. I think they're a little bit lower. I thought, much like you said, that prices were actually going to get pumped up by the way Galactic is just 2 weeks away,
Yeah.
and that people need to get the cards. But as you've also alluded to, it might not actually be driving prices as much as it might do in the US here in Europe. So we do have Vader, the new chase card, which is, if you look strictly on a power level, that's one of the more powerful cards they've printed. Like it's right
Mhm.
up there with the old Vader, with um,
It
something
sits in a
like
slot,
Poe
which is pretty good.
Dameron. Yeah,
Like the sixth
yeah,
slot is
it's a
fairly weak.
very powerful card. So I think this is a card that should have the potential to be expensive. It's Darth Vader. You can't get more iconic. There's no other face you can put on a card that's going to attract more people than Darth Vader.
Yeah.
And he is sitting at 27.63 euros right now in price trend, and you can get the cheapest ones you can find right now are going for 25 euros. So that's right where we've been with the most expensive cards in the last few sets. Cad Bane was around there last 2 sets ago. In last set, we did we have anything that expensive last set? I guess
I think
early on at
Devastator
least.
was there
Yeah,
before the Django ban. They were
right.
up there.
Yeah, I agree.
And then
I
the
seem
Sword
to
Showdowns
recall
came,
that.
and then it kept
Hmm.
going down for
Yep,
obvious reasons.
kept
But
going down.
I don't think we've had anyone that's really stood out since Crate Dragon and Poe, and even Crate like fell like a stone later. Um,
I guess Cad Bane in set three,
yeah,
and
yep,
to some extent now there are two of them in set three. So Vader is right now below 30. And then Anakin is the second most expensive at 21.77 euros. So
yep,
that's a fair bit cheaper. And then you go down, they're all below 20 euros. So we got Yoda at 18.68, and you got Grand Inquisitor. These are the price trends that I'm citing here. There are cheaper ones for sale. So Grand Inquisitor, there's quite a gap between the price trend and the actual cheapest one at sale. You can find quite a lot around 10 euros, but the price trend is at 16.46. Qui-Gon Jinn sits at 13.72. Grogu sits at 11.65. I thought Grogu was going to be more expensive than this. Like, quite iconic, very strong card, very playable
yeah,
in some decks.
yeah, definitely. I think I would have like if we're talking about what would be good, all these cards that you
Mm.
listed now, if they were
Yeah,
20 plus and not over 50, there was something
yeah,
around there. That's what we need.
yeah. That where they should be for this game to be healthy. And Vader should be a closer to 50, and I think Yoda should be there as well.
As
Like
long
at
as they're
least
good. I think
they're
Yoda is not as good as Vader, but like, yeah,
no,
super.
no, he's not, but he's very good. He's very good. Um, if we leave the legendaries aside, because some of the cheaper legendaries drop quite a lot,
Yeah,
like even something like the father, which is yeah, I struggle to
it's
see
not
where
good.
you're going to play a card like the father.
Yeah, I can't
It's
see
at
it.
396 in price trend. Mythosaurus, I don't know where that slots in any deck.
Just
I
compare that to
pulled a
Create and I
playset of
cry.
it. If anyone's interested, I'll sell it
Yeah,
at 375 price trend right now. But if you look at some of the rares that are really, really good and are going to see a lot of play, like Yaddle is probably one of the strongest rares they've printed in a while. She's at 329, and Adigalia is at 254, also a rare slot. Very playable, very good cards. Interesting, and this was I've seen that in the last three sets, the S marked cards, the ones that you get full plus sets of in the spotlight or back then in the starter sets, they are actually more expensive than the most expensive rares. So Obi-Wan Kenobi sits at price trend 250 right now, and that's somewhat surprising to me. Dart Tyrannus, which is a really good card, extremely one of the
yeah,
stronger cards in this set. He sits at 299 in price trend, and that's a very playable card. But you do get 3 copies of it if you buy the Spotlight deck.
yeah. But that's why it's a
Some
bit
of the
more expensive. People don't buy the spotlights, so a lot of people
yeah, I guess,
decide not to.
I
So
guess,
that's why it pumps it. So some people buy it and sell those off. But I'm not
yeah,
sure why you would buy it and sell it off, because why did you then buy it? I'm not sure, but
that's weird. Yeah, but I
yeah,
think everyone that want these cards would buy the Spotlights decks anyway.
yeah,
So
yeah. I
I don't
I
know.
had
I
to.
don't know.
You need to
Now,
have Darth Uranus like ready
yeah,
if you need them. Like,
yeah, yeah, exactly. I I kind of thought that the market for them would be quite sparse because everyone could get them if they wanted them. There's no randomness, but some of the strongest cards. And please tell me, why is the new Mace Windu not a legendary? He's a uncommon, sits at 0.28 in price trend.
yeah,
Like, why is this not a legendary? This card, everything about the design here screams legendary. It's an iconic character. He's got a super relevant ability at a very good price point. He's going to see play in so many decks. Why isn't this a legendary? Same with Kiadimundi, arguably the strongest card in the whole set. Sits at price trend 0.26 euros because he's an uncommon.
yeah. Which is
Why is
it's
this not?
completely reasonable
This is
because
what
he's
the
an uncommon.
legendaries should be looking like. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, of course. I mean, I have more than a playset of it, but they should be. They should at least be rares. Probably they should be legendaries. This is how
yeah.
the legendaries should be looking. If
I'm,
this
I'm
was legendaries, people would pay for that.
yeah. I'm gonna finish like a little bit of my sentence here. The one thing that this is doing better with all this flipped
Hmm.
limited and draft, like draft and sealed, becomes a lot more fun because everyone gets good cards. So you get to play with good cards. And you don't have these weird stuff in other games where it's very rare that someone gets this OP legendary and they're like, but we others can't get this OP card. So when you draw it, you just win the game.
Yeah, no,
Uh, that doesn't happen in Star
yeah,
Wars. So you get a lot more fun there. But it doesn't weigh up for everything.
no.
But I'm just going to be a little bit positive about what implication it has. Like you get actually very fun decks in Sealed and Draft. Like you have some powerful cards.
100% agree that this definitely benefits the limited formats, especially draft. I think,
Yeah.
like having the strongest cards on the uncommon slot, which they have pretty much been doing now for all sets. Some
I
of the
like it.
very strongest cards are uncommons. Yeah,
Yeah.
that makes your limited decks and your what you can draft and bring out in your seal pool. it makes it much stronger, much more like a real game. I think that's definitely something that's good. But maybe they should be pushing their limited formats more. Why is there no World Championships in draft? Like Galactics could have had a draft tournament for the world champion of draft as well. Why are there no PQs at draft? Like draft, I guess it's very much harder to organize
Harder to
with
organize, and like
judges and so on. You have to,
people have to invest more money as well, like buying packs.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
a lot more expensive.
and
I
you need a lot more judges. You need to have
Yeah,
judges at every table to check that because it's so much easier to manipulate this. So yeah, I
I
guess
I
there's
think
a reason for it.
one thing they could do is the next Galactic is supposed to be invite only. So you could have like the Galactics of
Mm.
Premier, and then you have the
Mhm.
Galactic for draft, which is free to sign up for. Like, well, not free to pay, but
Yeah,
everyone can get into.
no,
So
but
you have
open.
yeah, open, and then you have side events for people who goes out later. I think that's something you could do to still make Galactic big and huge somehow.
Yeah, I that's a really good idea. I think they should be listening to you because that's probably something that they could do quite easily, and that would be interesting to people. Given that, like we've already mentioned, the game overall is really good at limited formats.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a strong suit. They should be playing into that. I think like we're going to wrap this up, but what could we see for the future of this game? What is there any trends that we can spot right now that looks really like going in the right direction?
Like definitely, I think just the fact that it's sold out to Worlds, that is like an amazing trend for the game. That so many people want to travel for this event, because most of us is not getting fly there. Okay, I am, but but most people are not, like they are paying for this trip. A lot of people I met from in Germany and Italy were excited they were gonna go. Like this game pulls people together, and as long it's a great game still. Uh, and as long as
Yeah.
people still are interested in going to tournaments and you see this, I think that is a very positive trend. And that means that these negative things has not crushed people's spirit yet. Uh, the game is still so
Yeah,
good.
no.
I would say that.
The fundamentals of this game is some of the most amazing out there, and it's still pulling people in. Like we get more and more players all the time. Our pre-release Investiros was sold out with 24 boxes.
Whoa.
That's they've never sold out a pre-release before. So the game is growing, and that's because it's on the skirt tails of a really good set in last set and an exciting set in this set with all the characters that people are excited for. And I think a thing like Worlds, they talk all the time on how they want to make this a celebration of the game and all things connected to the game. And I love that. I love that. I really, that's why I'm going there. I want to celebrate this game and like I'm even though I might not do as well as I could hope that I could do, I'll still have a good time because it's going to be a great event, I think.
Yeah, I think it's going to be fantastic. Let's hope. Let's really hope it comes together, and that they have all prices on spot. We're in America after all, so it should be no issue.
Yeah,
Yeah.
hopefully. All right. With that, I think we can wrap up this episode. Let's any final words?
No, keep playing. Like and go to the Discord, right, and show us what decks you've been brewing up. We need inspirations for Worlds anyway, so that would be great.
All right. With that, we sign off. May the force be with you. Goodbye.
Force be with you.